staff, harassment, alarm, distress.
And I'm going to tell you no.
There is concern around your behaviour and how it's making our staff feel.
And I'm going to tell
I'm
you
make
no.
a request from you to provide me with your name
And I'm going to tell you no, because I've done nothing wrong.
You're under arrest.
Okay, right.
Welcome to Rate the Audits, the show where we expose misconduct, break down police and legal encounters, defend your rights, and call for real accountability. This episode is brought to you by Auditor Applaud. Don't forget to check out the link below, subscribe to his channel, and give him the recognition he deserves. In today's video, Auditor Applaud is filming lawfully from public property outside a police station when an inspector suddenly confronts him, acting like he's caught a criminal. The inspector throws around non-existent laws, backed by two officers who quickly join in with aggressive tactics, hoping to scare Auditor Applaud into backing off. When their intimidation doesn't work, they escalate by misusing Section 50 to attempt an unlawful arrest. But Auditor Applaud stands firm, turning this abuse of power into a legal fight, refusing to settle quietly and taking the matter to court to demand genuine accountability.
I'm just a little bit concerned as to why you're filming inside Sussex police premises.
Well, first of all, can you actually identify yourself properly for me?
Yeah, of course. My name's Inspector Simon Barden. I'm one of the duty inspectors up in our
Inspector?
Simon Barden.
Simon Barden, okay.
So I work in the Force Contact Control Room, so we're just wondering why you're stood on our property filming into...
No, I'm stood on public property.
Okay.
So let's verify that.
But you're filming into private property?
Makes no difference.
It does.
Why is that? What law am I breaking?
Because you're filming private property and you haven't...
It makes no difference.
Well, it does. You can't film into private property.
Yes, I can.
Okay, under what law?
Okay. The law is I can film whatever I can see in public. Okay, you can't trespass the eye.
Right from the start, the inspector reveals just how out of his depth he really is. In the UK, there's no law stopping someone from filming buildings or vehicles from public spaces. An inspector, who should set an example, ought to know this without hesitation. When Auditor Applaud questions him, the inspector only digs himself deeper by demanding, under what law? This isn't just ignorance. It completely reverses the principle. It's the public who don't need permission to film in public. It's the authorities who must have legal grounds to limit it. Both case law and Article 10 of the European Convention on Human Rights clearly protect the right to take photos or film in public places.
There are staff members that are coming in. You're putting their security at risk because you could potentially...
I'm not putting anyone's security at risk.
But you could be, couldn't you?
No, that's a presumption, okay? I'm not doing anything wrong.
No, it's not a presumption because I said you could. I didn't say you were,
okay.
I said you could be. So that's not a presumption, that's me suggesting that you could be.
Okay, and how would I be putting their safety at risk then?
So what are you doing with those films?
Well, it's for personal use.
Okay. What personal use? Are you going to be sharing those online?
I don't know. Whatever personal use I wish.
Okay. So what is the purpose of you being here today, would be my question.
The police is a public service.
Yep.
Okay, and I'm here to actually record what the public pay for.
Okay, but this isn't a police station, this is police
It
headquarters.
makes no difference. The public still pay for it.
Okay, I don't understand what you're trying to achieve though, because if you want to make sure...
I'm not trying to achieve anything. I'm just filming what the public pay for.
Okay, but if you're trying to prove that the public are paying and getting value for service, surely you'd be better...
I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all.
So what did you say?
Okay, I said I'm just here to film what the public pay for. That's it.
Okay, for what reason?
My own reason.
Instead of accepting that filming from a public space is completely legal, the inspector starts demanding explanations. What are you doing with the footage? Is it for personal use? What's the reason? This isn't proper policing and it's fishing for an excuse. He's not investigating a crime. He's trying to create one by making Applaud justify an action that doesn't require justification. Legally, Applaud was under no obligation to answer. Filming in public is lawful by default, and no law requires a citizen to disclose their intentions to the police. Article 10 of the Human Rights Act clearly protects photography and recording as forms of expression. By pushing for personal reasons, the inspector treated a fundamental right like a privilege, acting as if Applaud needed his permission to continue.
And do you come here regularly and do this?
That's irrelevant.
Okay. I feel like I've come down to have a conversation with you and engage with you, and you're not particularly willing to engage.
Yeah, but that conversation is irrelevant. Okay, that's called fishing for information.
It's not called fishing. It's called engaging with someone. It's called.
Yeah, I'll have a conversation about whatever you want. Okay, but whether or not I've been here or not, or whether or not I'm actually filming. I'm just doing exactly what I'm perfectly lawfully allowed to do.
What my concern would be is that, do you pose a security threat?
Okay, your concern and what the law is are two different things.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
They're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Okay, your feelings and what you feel is not the law. Okay, what I'm doing is perfectly lawful.
Not
okay.
Not if you pose a security threat.
In what way? You still haven't answered that.
Have you answered my question?
Okay, you still haven't answered that.
Have you answered my question?
I don't need to answer your question.
And I don't need to answer your questions.
Okay.
The inspector resorts to claiming a security threat. It reveals how weak his position really is. Security can't just be a vague excuse officers use when they don't have legal grounds. To limit someone's rights, there must be a reasonable suspicion of criminal activity, not just a feeling or discomfort about being filmed. This standard is clearly established in PACE and case law for a reason. Policing based on emotions would make everyone a suspect. Claude hit the mark when he told the inspector that feelings aren't the law. The inspector's failure to point to any actual threat only confirmed this. He wasn't evaluating a real risk. He was covering for his own lack of understanding. That's why he resorted to immature deflection, asking, "Have you answered my questions?" Instead of providing any clear answers.
Recording police vehicles. Are you recording information on police staff?
I'm recording whatever I can see.
Bear with me a second.
Why are you filming here?
Because I'm well within my legal rights to do so.
Why?
It's a public service that the public
Have you
pay
a keen
for.
interest in the police?
Okay, I have an interest in all public services.
Do you do this on a regular basis?
Okay, that's irrelevant.
Well, rather than filming us, why don't you ask us the questions and if you're interested in the police,
first of all, okay, if I had been approached correctly, okay, then I would have, okay, but your inspector hadn't, okay. You've come out, you've made an allegation, okay, towards me.
An allegation?
No, you did. You made an allegation that your staff, okay, are alarmed and distressed, okay.
Yes, they
you
are,
should know, as a constable, okay, you should not be alarmed and distressed.
Any person can feel harassment, alarm and distress.
Not when you're an officer. It is case law, and you cannot. You cannot be.
But let me speak. Let me get my point across so you can get yours. Okay?
I can film whatever the eye can see, sir.
Okay, listen to what I'm saying. Okay, you've just said what you want, so let me speak. Okay, members of staff leaving this building, this facility, in their plain clothes, in their own car, you filming them has caused them alarm, harassment and distress. Okay? They're not on duty as police officers, so they can feel alarmed.
The moment the two constables arrive, their argument quickly falls apart. They claim that staff coming in and out of the headquarters are alarmed and upset by Claude's filming. However, case law has long made it clear that police officers are expected to tolerate a higher level of scrutiny and discomfort because of the nature of their work. Trying to sidestep this, the constables insist that the individuals in question are plainclothes staff in their own vehicles. But that doesn't change anything. These people are still on police property, involved in policing duties, and directly connected to the institution that Claude is holding accountable. Being associated with the police is precisely why Section 5 doesn't apply in the usual way here. You can't avoid responsibility just because you're not wearing a uniform, especially when you're entering or leaving police headquarters.
It's a big security risk.
From that here all the way round inside this property, okay, I can film.
It doesn't matter. When we book off our system off duty, we're off duty. However, what we are going to clarify is whether what you're standing on is private land.
It's publicly accessible.
No.
It's publicly accessible under Section 33 of the Criminal Justice
We're going
Act.
to find out whether
okay?
this part that you're standing on is private.
But then if you can show me the actual signs that state private property along there, okay, no public access, then fine, I will move on. Okay, but there are no signs,
Giving you our
and it's
details.
publicly accessible.
What is your name, young man?
It's irrelevant.
You've clearly come here for an argument.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't.
Being here, then?
Because I want to film.
Film what?
Okay, what the public
Film
pay
us
for.
leaving a building.
No, I'm filming what I can see.
What
Okay.
you're doing is you're filming people leaving in their personal vehicles. Okay? That's not exciting.
And-
That's a security threat.
No, how is that a security threat?
Their registration.
That's a presumption.
You not see what happens in the world.
That's a presumption.
You're not seeing what's happening in the world.
Okay, yeah, but that is a presumption, okay?
It's not a presumption.
And where you just said, okay, about to do with license plates, okay? License plates are in the public domain, okay? You guys have access to that
You're
information.
putting that on YouTube and you're specifically...
Who said that? Who said that? Whoa. Hang on a minute. Whoa, hang on. No.
Listen to me, and
You
could.
said that. I haven't
Listen
said
to
it.
me.
No, don't
Listen.
shout at me.
Listen to me.
Do not shout at me. No, don't shout at me.
So let me have my piece.
Please do not shout at me.
Let me have my piece then.
Yeah, as long as you don't shout at me.
The two constables quickly fall back on the same excuse the inspector used earlier, claiming that Plaud poses a security threat because he's filming staff license plates. But Plaud immediately dismantles this argument. License plates aren't private. They're legally required to be displayed publicly. Every plate is visible to anyone passing by on the street. Calling this a security risk is pure fantasy. What further weakens their claim is that the police already have full access to registration details through the DVLA and their internal systems. If anyone can check plates, it's the officers, not the public. So trying to paint the act of filming something openly visible as suspicious is completely absurd. This exposes their tactic for what it really is, stretching the concept of security into a catch-all excuse whenever they don't want to be recorded.
You are a public servant, okay? I am here as a member of the public to film public property, okay, and a public service that the public pay for, okay? I'm doing a completely lawful activity, okay? I'm breaking no law, I'm committing no crime, right? And I shall carry on about my business, okay? If you decide that you want to harass me, then you carry on and do that, sir.
The issue you have.
Could you step back a little bit,
what
please?
you're doing is you're causing our colleagues harassment,
Would you mind
alarm, and
stepping
distress.
back a little bit,
okay?
please?
You're causing our colleagues harassment,
Would you
alarm,
mind
and distress.
stepping back a little bit, please?
Okay. Why don't you
Okay?
step back
Right.
further over there? To
No,
the pavement
because
over
I
there?
moved to here and you came to me. Okay?
I'll come
Just
to
because
you.
you're
Because
I
it's strange,
moved
and
from
I'm
there
asking you
to
why
here,
you're filming.
and you
why you're
walk to
filming.
me.
I'm asking
okay?
you why you're
If
filming.
you don't want to be that close to someone,
I'm asking
then
you
don't
why
walk
you're
up to
filming.
them that way.
Listen
Yeah?
to me from here.
Okay? If you ask your colleague to step back, I will talk with you.
Perfectly he's
No, he's walked right the way up. Now, this is me feeling alarmed and distressed.
He's not in your personal
Okay?
space.
Yes, he is. Okay? He's well within an arm's reach. Okay?
This was the moment the officer completely abandoned professionalism. After being out-argued on every legal point, he invaded Plaud's personal space without any reason. This wasn't policing. It was intimidation. Officers are trained to de-escalate situations and keep a safe distance, not use their physical presence as a tool when the law isn't on their side. As he leaned in, the officer warned, "Don't touch me," even though Plaud hadn't made any contact. That wasn't a genuine warning, it was bait. A preemptive tactic meant to shift blame if any confrontation occurred. By creating a situation where accidental contact could be twisted into assaulting an officer, he showed he wasn't there to enforce the law but to trap Plaud.
I mean, you get arrested
I
for
did
assault.
not touch you, so let's get that right. I did not touch you.
Don't touch me.
Okay?
Touch me and you get
I
arrested
did
for
not
assault.
touch you, so
Okay?
you need to be quiet on that one. Okay? Don't tell me I touched you when I did not touch
Don't
you.
touch me,
I
or
did
you'll
not
be
touch
arrested
you.
for
It's all on camera.
Do you understand
Okay?
that?
I did not touch you. Don't tell me do I understand.
Try and touch me.
Okay? Do not tell me. Okay?
Sir, sir,
Right?
just-
He's got a real attitude
sir,
problem.
listen.
Yes, he has.
Sir, you're not listening.
If you'd like to talk to me for a second,
Yeah, that's
great.
fine.
Okay. So I just wanted to clarify some things. You're right, this is a public area. You are entitled to film here. However, your behaviour is causing our staff harassment, alarm and distress.
Who's that then?
So we've had members of our staff complaining about you, filming them, leaving the premises, and that is causing them harassment, alarm and distress.
As
No,
a
listen to me,
police
listen to me,
officer, or
listen to
police
me.
officer or
No,
police
no,
officer,
no, no,
they
no.
cannot be the victim of being alarmed and
Yes,
distressed.
yes.
No, they cannot. You need
Yes,
to
they
actually
can.
look at that. It is
Yes, they
case
can.
law and it is there.
Sir, listen to me. Yes,
Okay.
they can.
No, they cannot.
Yes, they can. So as such,
Okay.
under Section 50 of the Police Reform Act 2002, I'm going to ask you to provide me your details,
Okay,
your name
right.
and address.
Now, I will
Hang on.
actually state this, okay? Under Section 50,
Yep.
okay, the Police Reform Act,
Yep.
okay, there has to be a member of the public within 150 metres of me.
No, it
okay?
doesn't.
Yes, they
no,
do.
It doesn't,
okay?
because the
Right, you
legislation-
will not
the
be
le-
getting my
the le-
details.
So if you refuse to provide those
Okay.
details, you're liable to be arrested.
You will not get my details. I'll tell you that straight because
That's
I've
fine.
done nothing wrong.
That's fine. I'm going to ask you again. You have.
Okay.
You've caused our staff harassment, alarm, distress.
And I'm going to tell you no.
There is concern around your behaviour and how it's making our staff feel.
And I'm gonna
so
tell you
make
no.
that request from you to provide me with your name
And I'm going
address.
to tell you no because I've done nothing wrong.
You're under arrest.
Okay, right. Hang on. Just before you do, would you mind just reading my wrist, please?
When the inspector returned to the scene, it should have been a chance to restore order. Instead, he repeated the same baseless claims as the constables. Things took a turn for the worse when he invoked Section 50 of the Police Reform Act. Section 50 doesn't give officers a free pass to demand ID. It only applies when there are reasonable grounds to believe someone is engaging in antisocial behavior that affects the public. Plaud was standing on public property, calmly filming a government building. There were no members of the public nearby, let alone anyone being disturbed. The inspector's disregard for this requirement reveals either a complete misunderstanding of the law or a deliberate misuse of it. When Claude refused to provide his details, they arrested him. This wasn't policing, it was punishment for refusing to comply. Now Claude shares an update on what happened after his arrest.
We know I got one offer, okay, that got turned down, and we now have a court date for the end of February, so I will keep you updated on that, peeps. So, as you know, I gave you an update on Inspector Barton, and where it should have actually gone to court at the end of last month, and basically things have sort of been delayed, so I'm now waiting for another date for that, and as soon as I have that, I will let you know.
Claude's update completely flips this case around. After being unlawfully arrested under Section 50, he didn't just complain, he took legal action. The police force offered him a settlement, but instead of accepting an easy payout, Claude declined and decided to take the inspector to court. This move is significant. Settlements often allow police forces to quietly sweep misconduct under the rug. But taking it to trial puts everything on the record. If Claude wins, he could receive a much larger payout, potentially between $5,000 and $15,000, depending on damages and aggravating circumstances. More importantly, it would publicly expose the inspector's conduct as unlawful, damaging the force's reputation, wasting taxpayer money, and possibly leading to disciplinary action. From the very beginning, the inspector showed a clear lack of understanding about the laws governing filming in public, trying to make up rules on the spot. For someone in his position, it was embarrassing. Instead of teaching his officers the law, he was teaching them how to bluff. Rather than de-escalating, he escalated the situation. Instead of leading by example, he copied their mistakes. This revealed not only poor training, but also a leadership failure at the highest level. The arrest itself was the clearest evidence of this failure. Section 50 was twisted into a tool for punishing non-compliance instead of protecting against genuine antisocial behavior. Claude was right to point out that no members of the public were affected, and the inspector was wrong to deny it. Even the constable's behavior fits into the bigger picture. From invading Claude's personal space to trying to claim security threats and distressed staff as justification, they demonstrated what happens when frontline officers are emboldened by weak leadership. They weren't enforcing the law, they were acting on their feelings, and when challenged, they hid behind the inspector. The bigger issue, though, is cultural. This wasn't just one inspector's mistake, it's part of a system where excuses come before accountability. The thin excuse of security and distress was used to mask ignorance, but Claude saw through it easily. By rejecting the settlement, Claude is making sure these failures get scrutinized in court. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me keep providing independent coverage. Also, don't forget to check out Claude. His channel is linked in the description. Show him some support. Thanks for watching. This was Rate the Audit, and I'll see you next time.